All right, and if y'all can't see that for some reason, just unmute yourself and tell me, but they said they could see it earlier, so I'm going to go with it. All right, well, tonight's topic is making over your mood, and it's a topic that when I first got started with oils, I didn't really, I guess, pay much attention to. That's not really why I got started with them, but it's really something that has evolved, and I've definitely, kind of been more interested in it in the past few years, and just really have seen a big shift in my own life and the lives definitely of my family, with two small kids. So it's just something that is very valid as we look to the future, and I'll kind of go over why that is. And they're starting to talk a lot more about it, in different publications, and also, with doTERRA. They talked a lot about it at convention, and I learned a lot there too. So I'm hoping to share some of that with you all so that you can kind of, I guess, understand why it is something that we need to take a little bit more seriously, not just, I guess, just so we can feel good. It actually has a profound effect on our overall health. So that's one of the things that I wanted to go over tonight. So we'll get started. So in this presentation, you will learn, why we should take a deeper look into our emotional health, how our emotions work and affect our body, how powerful the sense of smell is, which, any of you that already have essential oils know this, and how to choose your mood, how to, kind of take a step in that direction, and then how to incorporate them into your life, in respect to your overall emotions and well-being that way. Okay, so a little bit about me, if you guys don't know me. Most of you live do, but some watching the recording might not. My name is Carrie Cootie. I'm a pharmacist. I'm a natural health and business coach. I'm a platinum leader with doTERRA. I'm the co-founder of A Natural Shift, which is something me and my sister started to just kind of, incorporate some of the essential oils, but also just show you how to kind of shift toward a more natural lifestyle, and really encompassing, nutrition, exercise, just give you small tips that way. Lastly, but not least, I'm a Christian. I'm a wife and a mama of two little children. I have a 4-year-old little girl and a year-old son that keep me very busy, but it's a great thing to be a mama. Y'all know that. Okay, so a few things before we get started. I always want you guys to know I'm not a medical doctor. I do not have a degree to, give you that kind of advice. Anything that you might be starting new and you're questioning, you should always run it by your physician, just because they know your medical background and things such as that. I am a natural health educator, and so I teach others how to just really give them their body the tools that it needs to really heal itself and get to the root of the problem. The things that we'll discuss are all things that I have personally used or can attest to. And then I value modern medicine. That's really what I have studied, very intensely to be a pharmacist. And I definitely value, its place in our world, but I believe that you can use, maybe other things first and just kind of take more of a natural approach overall. But of course, I would be extremely thankful if I ever needed that. But it's something that I think can be used together as well. Okay, so in talking about our mood and our emotions, I think a lot of times people really overlook it. But, they're starting to figure out, they're starting to do studies and really look at this and think what a profound effect our emotions have on our overall health. That's why I call it the silent giant, because, if you kind of overlook that piece, when you think about why we have so much more disease in our world today, it's just like I just feel like a lot of times I just hear like, every other day, somebody has this or somebody has that, just, debilitating diseases, deadly things. And it just seems like so many more people are starting to experience that. And, of course, they look at, eating right or exercising, and genetics play a small part, but emotions are kind of like the missing piece to that puzzle. It's a huge puzzle that you have to look at, and emotions are definitely play a part in that, because if we have trapped emotions that we don't deal with, it can actually have a huge effect on our overall health. And I'm really convinced that all eyes will be on emotional wellness and empowered health decisions in this next decade. Sometimes it takes people a little bit to kind of really take a look in different areas, and they're used to kind of just saying it's because of this or that, but eventually they're going to look in this area, and I really feel it's kind of like the next thing that's coming. Like I said, it is completely overlooked, and therefore it's kind of since it is overlooked and we really don't pay much attention to it, it's allowed to wreak all kinds of damage on the inside. When we stuff our feelings and don't really deal with our true emotions, or deal with them in an unhealthy way, it's much more than just a bad feeling. It can really have a huge impact on our health. And because, if you think about it like this, we know that stress is very bad for us and it's toxic for our body. And if we kind of look at and know that trapped emotions can cause stress on the body, you can see how, if you have everyday stress that we all have, plus you have these built up emotions that you're not dealing with and processing, it's just more stress. It just kind of adds up, and it's really a recipe for disaster. And that's why I said trapped emotions are kind of like decay from the inside out, because you can't really see it on the outside. You go through your day and you people ask you how you are, or you say you're fine, but is that really the case? And of course, I discussed kind of how it's the most underexposed risk factor for disease. So, I kind of wonder this sometimes. Why do we have emotions? I just remember after I had my daughter, especially, with that first child, you're like, what have I done? I just remember crying uncontrollably and thinking, I hate emotions. I just don't want to feel this way and not be able to control it. But it's something that God gave us because it's definitely needed. I just personally don't like showing emotion in front of other people. And for some reason, I've attached it to weakness. If you show emotion, you're just not a strong person. But that's definitely a lie. Not that I really think we should be overly emotional. And usually that's just an act or a crying out for attention. But I do think when we feel a certain way, we should find a way to deal with it and work through those certain emotions, and realize it's okay to be vulnerable. Sometimes we just feel like we don't want to show emotion just because we don't want to be vulnerable, but that's exactly what we should do to kind of work through them. And it really is what connects us and helps us realize that we're all human and we're not perfect, because a lot of times I feel like we all, the world has taught us that we're all not enough. We don't know enough. We're not worthy. We're all trying to get the perfect body to take a selfie with or something. It's just the world has kind of taught us that. And, it's what our children are growing up into. And we've got to kind of show them that that's not the way that it should be. And also, I kind of feel like our world is sort of overly emotional. We have an emoji for everything, and we just kind of, it's almost just like a joke, kind of being overly emotional, and just, there's just so many things going on in the world that try to grab our attention as well. And for the past few years, I've been teaching people how to really integrate natural tools into their life to allow their intuition to become stronger. So that really allows them to feel life instead of just going through the motions. And the thing is that people are really starting to find out that nature knows better than anything else can. And it really is all about listening to what our body is telling us, rather than just, trying to act a certain way just because we feel like we have to, or somebody else does, and we're trying to kind of emulate them. So I really feel like that's kind of why we have emotions, because that's our body's way of making us take action in a certain direction. And like I said, we are programmed to respond emotionally. And when we don't, and we don't kind of act on what we're feeling on the inside, it really just kind of builds and builds. And then, that's kind of why I put, are we responding well, or are they taking us hostage? Because they really can, if they build up and we don't kind of deal with them. And it's either, some people respond, in a way where they just hold everything in, or some people respond where they just, act out all the time. So depending on what you are, but, none of it is good. We should really learn how to process our emotions quickly, right then. Don't let them kind of build up. So, if you're listening to this, you might be ready for a change. You might want to get information to share with others, but you actually probably, I think everybody kind of it could benefit from this, and just learning why this is so important, and just kind of really looking at their own life to think, do I need to change? Because, I mean, life is busy, and it's, it's not easy all the time. And do we really deal with the things that come up every day, or we just let them build up? And it really is like, a vicious cycle. If we just continually say, I'm just too busy for this, or I don't want to deal with that right now, or it's, we just think it's too hard, it's not really doing us any good. And especially, we tend to take this out if you're married on your spouse, because they're the closest one to us. And I'm really having to work on this too, because, sometimes it's just easier not to worry about it or not to deal with it. But we really should, want to work through those things so that we can have a better emotional well-being. And just, I'm going to go through some of the different things about why it's so bad, but just so that we can, be healthier overall. And this definitely is a piece to that. And, probably, I guess, I don't know, 3, 4, 5 years ago, if I would have listened to this presentation, I would think this is just stupid. How can this really impact my health and my, just overall well-being? But it really is, if you take the time to kind of study it and research it like I have, and just really listen to some of the people that are talking about it and kind of what they're sharing, it really does make sense. And it's definitely the real deal. It's not just something that you can kind of brush off. Okay, so let's just go over quickly. I've kind of talked about why we should want to maybe pay more attention to this. Now let's talk about how emotions work in the body. And it's interesting because it's very similar to their hormonal system, that I talked about in a previous webinar. But it really does work all on a messenger system. And the hypothalamus is the command center for this messenger system. So when we have an emotion, it really goes through the hypothalamus first, and it's a command center that tells our body what to produce. And so once our body releases the chemicals in response to emotions, so if you think about what chemicals those might be, stress would obviously be cortisol. We've probably all heard that. And then positive emotions would be like serotonin or dopamine or oxytocin. So, you've probably heard of those words before, and definitely a lot of people have a lacking of serotonin. So you could see why, stress will play a role in that. But, that's why emotional stress has such a big part in our overall health and effect on the body, because if we're under emotional stress and we have increased cortisol, we might have headaches, we might have lack of sleep, we might end up having heart issues or immunity, decreased immunity. So those are some of the kind of the things that emotional stress can cause. And once these chemicals are released into our body, whether it's stress or positive ones, that's when they work on a messenger system. So once the chemicals kind of get released, the cells in our body have receptor sites on them, and different chemicals, fit or attach to different cells in our body. And once they're embedded on the surface of the cell, once they attach, that's how we get the response in our body. And so, the thing that makes them bind onto that receptor is called a ligand. And there's 2 different kinds of ligands that we can have. So we can have endogenous or exogenous. So endogenous would be something that's already in the body. So that will be like the serotonin or the dopamine that, our body produces. Exogenous ligands are something like medications, or if some people eat food because, they might be stressed out or whatnot. And this is where the oils come in, the essential oils come in. They kind of act as an exogenous ligand. So once the hypothalamus kind of tells the body what to produce, that's when they can, interact with the cells, and that's what produces, the response in our body. So I kind of wanted to go through that and kind of how they work. And that's where, a lot of the aromatic benefits of the essential oils come in, because your nose knows. Our nose is one of the most powerful things that we have in our body. If you think it, kind of look at it, it's one of the most primal. and complex. If you look at it in kind of comparison to our eyes, our vision only has 3 receptors, but our olfactory system is much more complex. It has over 1,000, is said to be kind of studied about. So you can think about, how much more of a profound effect our sense of smell has, than even our eyes. So by the time the information reaches our thinking and decision-making cortex, of something we've smelled, it's already triggered an emotional response. And I mean, that's like, as less than a second. So isn't that interesting that before your brain can even think about what you smelled, that scent has already triggered an emotional response in your body? So it's very, very fast the way that happens. And, that's when that cascade of those chemicals are released in your body. And so that's why it can produce an effect on your overall body very quickly. This is kind of, in knowing that, you can kind of see how you could choose your mood per se. And a lot of people think, that person is just always in a bad mood, or, I'm in a bad mood and always in this situation, or, maybe I'm just not a morning person, or whatever it might be. You kind of think about the different moods that you have and the different situations that you might come in contact with. But does it always have to be like that? Sometimes we think that it does, but, what if it doesn't? What if we can actually, kind of, use some of the tools that we know, and if you know how it works in your body and you know the things that are available to you, I truly think we can, over time, change that. And obviously, if we know that this is kind of powered by the exogenous ligands, that's how we can use the essential oils. Mostly aromatically is the way that it really does trigger our emotions and our mood the most. And that's how we can kind of use those things in situations that we might be, more likely to be not in a good mood about, whatever that might be. Maybe anxious or feelings would be a good kind of example there, but it is something that is definitely valid and we can use in our everyday life. If you think about it, like I said, you kind of already choose it with what you put into your body. So, some people use caffeine or drugs or sugar or whatever it is, the people that you spend time with. These all really affect, what mood or what emotions you might be thinking or feeling. So kind of an example of this would be, someone that has been deficient in serotonin for some time and has, they already know they have lower sad feelings, and their response to different situations that come up may be anxious or angry or hopeless or sad. And, what if, we know by knowing, what per se, like something like wild orange, it creates a happy feeling. It creates, positive feelings. What if, knowing that it can do that, and that they used this before, let's just say they had to get up and give a speech in front of somebody, and, somebody knew that they were extremely anxious about this, they could use, this essential oil beforehand. And, it would honestly almost make them, irresistibly more happy. And so they would have the capacity to be more hopeful, more calm about the situation, less reactive, different things like that. And it's going to create more of those positive, emotions and chemicals released into the body. And that's kind of why they would feel irresistibly more calm and more happy and more, pretty much, more optimistic about the situation. So that's kind of how you would use them to sort of choose your mood. So, that's one part of it, the way that it works in your body, but really creating positive emotions is something else that can play a huge role in that. And, positive emotions, they really open your mind to kind of the possibilities, and some of this is mindset. Obviously there's stuff that goes on in our body with the chemicals and different things like that, but really kind of just, if you focus on one thing and it's, I guess kind of depressing and you want to kind of get out of that, you've got to focus on something else. That's really all it is. Whatever you focus on is what kind of drives your emotions. So, positive emotions open your mind. They broaden your awareness of what's going on. They kind of let you be more in tune with what others need, because sometimes when we're focusing all on ourselves, we can get kind of just down or whatever it might be. But if we're not always focusing on ourselves and we're more in tune with what others need, that kind of takes some of it off ourselves, and we can actually get some positive emotion through them. Focus on increasing positive experiences. If you know that you enjoy, taking your kids, I don't know, wherever, to the pool. That was just something that popped in my head. Try to do that more. Try to think about the things that bring you joy, and try to, make that more of a part of your everyday life. Finding joy in the everyday moments, especially as a mom. Sometimes it seems like today, for instance, when the time changed, I'm like, this is the longest day ever. So I'm sure some of you might be, feeling me on that one, but, try to find the joy in everyday moments, things that happen all the time. It's just something that your days can really get mundane, and that's kind of how you just create and think about, and try to find joy in the everyday moments. And it really does make life more enjoyable. And then schedule in some joy, which really is what I was saying. If you really enjoy doing something, try to do it more often. Even though we feel like we're so busy and we don't have time, really try to do that, because that's what's going to, create positive emotions and really just put you in that better mood and make you maybe more overall optimistic about different things. Okay, just something real quick in here, and then we're going to hop into how we can use essential oils with this. So 7 habits to increase positivity. So relationships is a really big one. And, this could be with a friend or a spouse or a sister or, your family or whatever. Just try to, encourage those, nurture those relationships more, and just create some positivity that way. Caring, volunteering for others, like I was saying, kind of caring for others and not always making it be about yourself. Exercise is a huge one, because we know that when we exercise, we release those positive chemicals, and we kind of release those endorphins and different things like that. And it really gets off some of that stress. I know that I personally love to just exercise to clear my mind and, just release some of that stress that kind of builds up. So exercise is a huge one when we think of, making our mood better or just increasing positivity in our life. Flow. So, the tendency is to become so absorbed with an activity that you're doing that you're able to forget about, all the obligations you have, the worries you have. And, it's really great for just kind of increasing your mental and emotional health. So discover meaning. Sometimes we just kind of go through life and don't really, these two kind of go together, discover meaning and discover and use your strengths, because sometimes we don't even know what our strengths are, really take the time to kind of look into those more and really work in our strengths rather than trying to feel like we have to be good at everything. Really, it's great to work in those strengths and really nurture those. And then the last one is gratitude or mindfulness. I kind of call this time with God, because that's what makes me have gratitude and mindfulness, and really just focusing on what He wants for my life. But whatever that might be for you, just try to not always be going. Try to, have some time for you and just focus on the things that, maybe went well for that day. Some people like to do a gratitude journal in the morning. And so they, or either in the evening, to see what went well through your day and kind of focus on that rather than focusing on the things that you didn't do or that you might have not have went so well. Okay, so we'll get to the application of this. So, when talking about essential oils and using them to kind of, shift your mood in a better direction, what would be the best way to kind of go about this? We know that there's 3 different ways to use essential oils. There's aromatic, topical, and internal. But aromatic is really the way that I always think about to use them to kind of influence our mood. But all 3 actually do, kind of help in that. But aromatic is the fastest way and probably the best way to shift our mood. Obviously, when we inhale an essential oil, it goes straight to our hypothalamus. And we know that, in talking about that, that's exactly what, is the command center for all of these different chemicals that gets released. So that is very helpful in resetting new and healthy belief systems. And that's kind of how I was talking about using them in the morning to kind of wake up and be in a good mood, or maybe in the afternoon when you're tired and you just need to pick me up and you're starting to get grouchy because, this or that has happened. Try to use some, in your life situations, and just, try to, maybe take a minute, put on some essential oils, think about something, that makes you happy, or that's something that happened good that day, and kind of connect those two things. That's what's so great about this. It actually helps you be more in tune with yourself. And that's exactly how you work through emotions. And that's how you can, kind of really change your mindset and change your mood that way. So, in speaking about it aromatically, obviously a diffuser would be a great way. I diffuse probably at least 3 times a day. I like to do it in the morning, maybe around lunch and then at night. But, it just, not only do these smell great, they really do have a profound effect on your overall mood. And we'll talk about, kind of we'll go through the different ones that really affect it the most and why. But, diffuser is the best way to get them aromatically. Now, if you didn't have one, you could inhale straight from the bottle. You could put a drop in your hand and just rub your hands together and kind of cup over your nose to inhale. You could put it on your wrist and just maybe rub them together and inhale from that. But those will be kind of that effect doesn't last very long. But if you put in a diffuser, if you turn it on for 4 hours, you're going to get that benefit over those 4 hours at a very steady rate, versus, maybe you inhaled some and it peaked really quickly, but then it went away because your body goes through it really fast. So diffusers are definitely the best way. And then topical. So really what topical application would do, as far as just looking at your mood, it really does assist in creating an environment so that your cells can respond in a certain way. So I guess if that makes sense, it assists in moving from a stress response to a restorative response. And that's where healing can take place in your body. So in thinking about it, using it topically, it's better to apply the oil like kind of closer to your head. You could apply it, maybe behind your ears or on your forehead, on your temples, even under your nose. I put a little drop of oil under my nose before so I could smell it better and get those aromatic benefits. And even on the back of the neck, especially I use that sometimes on my kids, when I need them to maybe be in a better mood. That little, I don't know what it's called, the little bend right on the base of your skull is said to be a really good place to put essential oils if you're looking to kind of help with your mood. Okay, and the last way would be internal. And this is a way that we can nourish our cells, at a deeper level. Obviously, we know internal supports our cells at the deepest level, but it can really support a healthy chemical response in the body in which emotions can be processed more readily. So it really just kind of creates that environment again, but at a deeper level than topical does. So we know we can take essential oils in our water, use them in our water. We can put, a drop on our finger and put it on the roof of our mouth, or we can put a drop under our tongue. So those are kind of the different ways that you could use oils internally. So in saying all that, which ones might we use? I mean, there's so many you can use for, emotions and mood, but really, you can get books that tell you there's actually, emotional component to every single oil that we can use. So these are kind of just ones that are specifically more geared toward mood. So there's the invigorating blend, which is also called citrus bliss, and it helps stimulate the mind and creativity. It also smells amazing. It smells like a creamsicle. So I love to diffuse this one. It just smells really, really good. The joyful blend, which is also known as elevation, it energizes, and it also helps balance hormones, because I was saying there's a very, it's very similar how hormones work in our body versus how these emotions work in our body when we know that about the chemicals that are released. So a lot of these do help with balancing those as well. When we help, work through stressors that may come, emotions that come, that can help balance the hormones too. Um, the encouraging blend. What is the other name for this? I didn't have it right now. Oh, wait, motivate. Sorry. This one stimulates belief or courage or confidence. So I love to use this one when, maybe I'm about to give a presentation and I just need a little, a little encouragement or a little bit of confidence with that. I know I posted on my page the other day, I think it was my personal page, I'll use it like I didn't want to get in the kitchen and do something, or I wanted to lay on the couch. It's a great blend to just kind of, kind of get you going. That's obviously motivate. That's kind of what you would think of, but I love motivate. And then the grounding blend is called balance. And it just kind of does create a sense of calm and balance in your life. It helps ground you back to reality. Sometimes we kind of get in our own head and make up things that really aren't true and just kind of exaggerate things. So it helps kind of ground and calm us. Okay. So lavender, we know that lavender is all things calming, but it helps us, it increases the ability to express feelings. So, sometimes we feel like we want to get the emotions out, but we don't know how to. And so lavender can help. It just kind of helps relax us. And therefore, it can kind of help us work through some things. Wild orange is a great one to use when we think of mood and emotions. It helps a lot with anxious feelings, but it also energizes us. And, it just kind of makes you want to get out there and kind of do something. It gives you that calmness that you need, kind of fights the anxious feelings and just really helps you, kind of get motivated to get out there and do something, do what you want to do. So cedar wood, it grounds. It's a very grounding oil, and it helps promote a sense of belonging and connected socially. So, cedar wood is a great one to use on kids. A lot of times I like to, give a recommendation for cedar wood because, sometimes kids, they can kind of feel left out, or, maybe even they have a problem focusing because there's so much going on around them. This really helps to kind of keep them grounded and help them have a sense of belonging, like it said. So last one on here is bergamot. So bergamot is known for helping to increase self-confidence. And, a lot of people like to use this one just, if they're having a problem, especially like I said with kids, sometimes when they're going through school, they just have self-confidence issues and just kind of comparing themselves to everybody. But this is a great one to kind of increase self-confidence. And you could use this one throughout the day or just in the morning, whatever you feel like you needed. Any of these, you could use them throughout the day or, however much you feel. Okay, so I wanted to talk specifically about the emotional aromatherapy. And this is something that I think it's probably about two years ago that they introduced this one. And it's just there's nothing else out there that's like this. It's really unique what doTERRA has done, because if you look at the wheel that I've got posted up there, what they really did was they looked at the mint oils, the citrus oils, the spice oils, the herbs and the grasses, and then the trees and the floral oils. And they kind of look, okay, the florals help with fearfulness and worried feelings and hurt feelings. And, the mints do this. All these different, plants help with the different feelings. And so they put them together so that we can, when we want to feel encouraged, can use motivate. When we want uplifting, we might use cheer. It's really, this helps us pick our mood. Basically you can look and say, I need some passion in my life, or I need some peace in my life, and they wanted to make it easy and very user-friendly. So that's kind of how they came up with this and really made these very unique blends so that we could use them when we need to feel more of these feelings. So to go through each one, I've already talked a little bit about some of these, but the encouraging blend is called Motivate, and it's a blend of citrus and mint oils. And it's, it kind of makes you have more confidence in life, and it stimulates belief. Whatever that might be, even, something big, like you have a big presentation to do in front of a lot of people, or you, like I said, you need to get up off the couch and go and do something in your house, whether that be clean it or whatever. It's little things that you can use it every single day to kind of just help you, process that emotion or just literally get moving. The uplifting blend is another one. It's called Cheer. It is a blend of citrus and spice oils. So it's known to be energizing and uplifting, and creates optimism. So, these are probably my favorite two, Motivate and Cheer. They smell amazing. I mean, you can't really, if you think about citrus and mint, you'd be like, what would that smell like? But you don't have to smell it for yourself. It smells just, especially in a diffuser, you can pick up all the notes of all these. And, not only do they help you with these things, they just smell great. So I love that side effect of these. So Passion is next. It's called the Inspiring Blend, and it's a blend of spice and herbal oils. And this one helps to spark creativity, and it's also very renewing. And this one smells a lot like cinnamon. It has more of the spice oils than it does anything, but it smells really, really good too. Okay, next is the Renewing Blend, and it's also called Forgive. And it's a blend of tree and herbal oil. So it doesn't have any floral or citrus, and it smells very, probably more herbal to me. And it helps with patience and contentment. It's called Forgive. So if you're trying to work through some things, maybe somebody just really said something to you that hurt your feelings, or, your spouse didn't do what you want them to, whatever that might be, you can use some of this to just sort of work through some of those things. Maybe have a time that you are sitting by yourself and just in the, peaceful, no noise, and just kind of put some of this on and just, try to work through those feelings. That's kind of how, these work. You have to kind of connect it with a thought. If you want to forgive somebody, maybe apply some of this, put it in a diffuser, and then try to work through those, feelings and thoughts that you have. So the next one is the Comfort Blend, and it's called Console. And it's a blend of tree and floral oils. And it helps, obviously, with the name, you could tell, it helps with grief and sadness. I probably use it, honestly, more. It really helps with calming, too. I use it at night. It smells really good in a diffuser as well. But I'll use it on my kids, too. It's good topically. And we know they just came out with all of these emotional oils in roller bottles that are very convenient, that are pre-diluted. And so I like to use that one topically on my kids at night. And then the last one is Peace. It's called the Reassuring Blend, and it's a mixture of floral and mint oils. And it helps with, kind of have that calm, peaceful feeling, but also helps with getting a restful sleep at night. And I like to use this one during the day on myself, and I use it on my kids more so at night. But, well, actually, I will take that back. I use it on my kids if they're really getting out of hand during the day. I like to use this one on them if balance is not really doing what I want it to do, which it usually does, but sometimes you just need to pull out the piece. But, this one, it smells really, really good too. This is one of my favorite smells, but it just really helps to, it has, some of the woodsier oils too, mostly floral and mint, but it's great at calming the nervous system and just kind of creating that peaceful feeling, that you sometimes need, especially with kids. So I love the emotional aromatherapy line, and I just think it's so genius that they came out with this, and it really does allow us to kind of pick our mood or really make over your mood. So when we think about putting all the pieces together, it really is a choice. Obviously you're on here, you want to learn more. Is it something that you're willing to kind of give more time? It's like anything else. Like I said, if we look at our overall health, we might look at exercise or eating right, or different things like that. But when we really look at the stress in our life and how we deal with emotions, and, not only do we just want to just have a better mood just so we feel better, but do we really want to process these emotions so we have a better overall health? So it really is a choice that that you could that you make every day. You could just push things to the side and say, I don't have time, or you could really try to work through some of these things and try to be more mindful of it. That's really all it is. In doing these different topics, I really just want you to be more aware of what all things affect your overall health, because there is so many different pieces. So if you can just try to be more mindful of it, and maybe, try to use some of the essential oils that you have, or if you don't, maybe think about incorporating some of them to just really, kind of being more in tune with what your body is trying to tell you. That's kind of what oils do. They make us more in tune with what our body is already trying to tell us, which I love. It's a very fast-paced world. It's a very busy world that tries to keep us always wanting the next thing and always too busy to really slow down and ask, what is my body trying to tell me? So that's really, this is another piece to that puzzle to try to help you do that, just that. And, these are the best tools that I've found for this. I don't know anything else that can really help you, so much on such a deep level of your overall health, but obviously this is part of that picture. So I just think that it's great that we can use essential oils for yet one more thing. So that's it. That's what I wanted to kind of give you an overview on tonight. I hope you guys learned something new. I hope that, like I said, maybe you might just think about this more as you're going through your day. You might be aggravated, and maybe you could just grab some cheer or grab some wild orange and put it on and think happy thoughts. And, if you continue to do that, I can bet you will definitely see a difference in not only your overall mood, but your overall stress level, and maybe how you respond to others and how you treat others, because let's face it, we cannot control what anybody else does but ourselves. So I just hope that you can use some of this information and just kind of incorporate it into your life. So I've got the Get Started link. If you are not familiar with essential oils, if you do not already have some or are already working with somebody, I would love to help you. So that's the link that I have if you wanted to jot that down and take a look at it. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing my screen so I can, let's see. And I'm sorry you can't see me. Something is wrong with my camera on my computer. So I'm going to stay on here. If you guys have any questions for just another minute, you can put them in the chat feature, or you can unmute yourself. But thank you guys for tuning in. I did want to say, I like to do a different topic every month. Do you guys have anything that, you might want me to do one of these webinars on or hear more about? I'd love to hear some suggestions on what you might want to hear more about. Alrighty, guys. Well, thanks for joining again. I'll put this, here you go, Beth. Let's see. Daily routine with natural products rather than whether it is oils. Okay. I can definitely do that. I could do that. Maybe I'll just do it more of a detailed, because I think I've done a Facebook Live about that before, but it would be good to do it more in detail and do it on a PowerPoint. So I'll jot that down and see what I can come up with. Yeah, I think a lot of times people get confused about what they should be doing daily, or what's too much, or what does everybody else, kind of do in their daily life. So I think that's definitely a good one, because that will be a good one for really anybody to see, kind of what they might want to incorporate into their daily routine. And that would definitely help with doing a wellness consult too. Yeah. Okay. So I'll think about doing that then. Thank you for that suggestion. And I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night. Thanks, Jen. I'm glad you got on. And sorry I can't see you. I'm going to get this fixed tomorrow. I'm calling Apple. So y'all have a great night, and I will see you later. Bye.